Hello everyone and welcome back guys to round 17 of the F1 2020 My Team career mode, where today we're here back for the Russian Grand Prix. And yeah, we are very much now in the end game of Season 1. Just 6 races to go, including the Grand Prix here today. So hopefully, as we head into the Russian GP, we can continue on the good form that we've seen in recent weeks. In terms of current upgrades on the car, though, we have, I think, now got a couple more facility upgrades. As you can see, we've got the simulator upgrade. That is meant to be coming very, very soon, as well as I think we put one more on the car. If I'm not mistaken, I thought we had a little bit more money to put 2 on the car. Perhaps I imagined it. I never quite remember on F1 2020. But yeah, obviously, if you aren't already, make sure you get yourself subscribed. A big thank you for the continued support on this series. You know, we're trying to, slowly just, maybe if we can hit 13,000 subscribers, that would be very, very good if you ask me. But obviously, if you missed out on yesterday's video as well, click above me, you know the drill. At the top right hand side of your screen, there'll be a link to the full playlist, so obviously you can catch up on any videos that you have missed. Obviously, in terms of upgrades on the sort of car rather than the facilities, we've got the magnetic compound upgrade obviously going on, as well as the rear wing upper flap upgrade, which is a big one for the car. So performance-wise, we're still at 10th at the moment, but like I keep saying, anywhere from Alfa Romeo down to us is basically just completely even at the moment. In terms of upgrades that we might be able to get this weekend, though, I don't think there's any at the moment that we can be looking to try and get this weekend. I think we just got to try and farm up some more points, and the best way to do that is to head to free practice. I'll see you guys on the other side. So, I may have forgot the fact that the engine is looking rather warm heading into this weekend. As you can see, most of the parts are at about, sort of what, we're looking at 50-40% are on the car. So what we're tempted to do, in all honesty, is get a fresh engine in the back of the car. As you can see, if we change the control electronics, we're going to get a grid drop penalty anyway. So what I'm tempted to do is just get a whole fresh engine in the car. Hopefully, maybe it'll be our last whole fresh engine on the car, but as we're going to take grid penalties anyway, we may as well go all out with them. It doesn't cost you anything on F1 2020 as well. That's one feature that I'd like to be added to the game, if it did actually cost money as well. So we're going to stick a whole fresh engine in the car. We'll probably do one qualifying run just to make sure the pace is where it should be anyway, but we're going to be starting from the back of the grid nonetheless. So yeah, let's just get that sorted and head into qualifying. So here we are then, coming to the end of our, just outlap in qualifying. Like I said, we're just going to do one run. We've got a clear track around us, so I'm really not too worried about what position we end this session. And obviously, even if we get through into Q2, we're not even going to bother with a qualifying time in that session. I do just quite enjoy racing around the Russian Grand Prix circuit, in all honesty, as well. But yeah, we're going to be starting at the rear of the field. Let's see if we can just keep a nice, tidy run, however. This track is, yeah, very satisfying to hot lap, in my personal opinion. It has changed a lot as well since F1 2019, i.e. there's actually trees and greenery here. Who would have thought it on the Russian Grand Prix circuit? It looks... I was going to say, it looks now like an actual place in the real world rather than just a business estate, but I guess this one qualifying lap we were going to do is already over then, so that's something we've got to be careful of this weekend. But yeah, like I said, we're starting at the back anyway. I think we should avoid any more embarrassment and just get on with the Grand Prix.
Welcome along then to Sochi and the Russian Grand Prix, one of 8 cities in the world to play host to both the Olympics and a Formula One race. It's a Grand Prix that's proven difficult to crack for anyone beyond the first 2 rows of the grid in recent years, so let's see if that can change today. Situated just 3 miles from the Georgian border, the 3.6 miles Sochi Autodrome has 2 notable overtaking opportunities into turn 1 and then turn 13. 18 corners in total here, 12 to the right and 6 to the left, and it's an average lap speed of around 130 miles per hour. Anthony Davidson is here once again for today's Grand Prix. Let's talk about Mr. Monaco. As ever, the threat of unreliability is never far away, and indeed they'll be starting out of position today due to a power unit component change. So it's going to be a difficult task to move forward from there.
Everyone has to deal with penalties or reliability issues from time to time throughout their career. You just have to suck up the pain and get on with the job at hand. Today isn't about performing a miracle to put the car back where it should be. It's about effective damage limitation.
Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. Lewis Hamilton lines up on pole position, and it's Charles Leclerc in P2. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Vettel, Bottas, Alexander Albon, and Sainz, Ricciardo, Ocon, Kvyat, and Lando Norris, Perez, Stroll, Pierre Gasly, and Giovinazzi, Verstappen, Magnussen, Kimi Raikkonen, and Roman Grosjean, King, Russell, Latifi, and Mr. Monaco. And with preparations almost complete, let's head down to the track.
After your performance last race, it's a big disappointment to be this far back on the grid, but let's see what you can do.
So here we are then on the grid, ready for the Russian Grand Prix, and we start, down in P22. Clearly the team not quite understanding how grid penalties work coming into this weekend, but Anthony Davidson, he always bangs on about how the morale in Mclaren is going well in these pre-race builds-up, but today we finally get a mention as well here. A lot of questions being asked up and down the field, but I think the big one at the moment is, can Charles Leclerc, Sebastian Vettel and Lewis Hamilton stop Valtteri Bottas at the moment? He comes into this Grand Prix, I think, with a 24-point lead in the Drivers' Championship, so I'm sure they will all be desperate to try and close in some points here today. 6 races to go this season, 156 points up for grab. Obviously, if you're able to win every single race. But tyre wear shouldn't be much of an issue around here either. Going to be a pretty textbook one-stop race. We've got the 2 Williams and our teammate just in front of us. But I think if we can keep it clean and tidy throughout the first lap, we should be okay. We'll have a nice fresh engine, a lot of power behind us. Let's see what we can do. The 5 red lights here in Russia, and it's lights out, and away we go. Not off to a particularly brilliant start, but that's okay. A very, very long run down in towards turn 1 there. As you can see, everyone, Constantine is up just a little bit through the first kink, as Russell and Latifi go looking to the inside. We'll try and follow our teammate Jordan King around the outside. You can see Russell there just sticking his nose in. Grosjean getting swamped by a few cars around him, but he holds on to P20. We got Latifi trying to look around the outside. Through turn 3 is Grosjean there a little bit early on the brakes. We didn't want to go for the dive bomb, but we also didn't want to lose our front wing. As down into sector 2 for the first time, just trying to keep it nice and tidy. Hopefully we can do that. As you can see, just everyone all just sort of tripping over each other a little bit, just trying to work out, settle down into a rhythm, all that good stuff at this stage of the race. But yeah, you can just see everyone still, as we head out onto the back straight, just trying to keep it calm, keep it clean, and keep it tidy. Can we now get a bit of a run on Roman Grosjean? It looks like we have been able to there as we head down the back straightaway. Might be able to have a look past Russell there as we split the Williams and the Haas car. Very, very aggressive, but we pulled it off. I remember to P19 in the race before the end of lap 1, so that's good. Up 3 spots. Our teammate Jordan King up a place as well as we head down through the final couple of corners. That's been an okay start. Now, to get our head down and focus, as someone's already into the pits. Seb leads the way at the end of lap 1. Who's that? I think that's Magnussen. Yes, it is. Magnussen into the pits at the end of lap 1. Not the best start for Haas. Onto the back straightaway on lap 2. It seems actually that our teammate Jordan King just sparking away a little bit there. Not too sure what that's all about. I think it's actually coming from Raikkonen just in front of him, but up the inside of our teammate. He locks up on the entry, and that is going to be us straight up into P17 as we leave him under a bit of pressure from Roman Grosjean. Hopefully he can hold on to that. I have noticed as well, they made a couple of subtle changes to this track, which I think make it a whole lot better. I mentioned there's actually now greenery around the circuit, but a few of the new and improved curbs definitely make track limits a lot easier. End of lap 2 though, I'm at a P17. Next up, Raikkonen. On to lap 3, all over the back of Raikkonen. I have really noticed that Alfa Romeo is sparking away so much at the moment here. And what's brilliant, I love the fact that Giovinazzi is nowhere near as much as we try to have a look at the inside. Raikkonen, though, slams the door shut. So clearly Alpha just running a couple of slightly different setups this weekend. But yeah, Raikkonen opting with a very, very low ride height, as it seems like Verstappen is struggling to pick his way through the racing point. Charles Leclerc, new fastest lap of the Grand Prix. It's Ferrari-Mercedes at the front, but we need to focus on the Alfa Romeo just in front of us. This time round we can get the run down in towards turn 1. You can see we get up to about 210 miles an hour, and then actually Raikkonen start just to inch away there at the end of the front straightaway. So clearly Alpha running low ride height and a very slippery setup round here. We're learning a lot about Raikkonen's car just by being sat behind it. Oh, Raikkonen, bit of a mistake there out the final couple of corners. Might be able to slip up the inside. Don't often see overtakes there, but we've done it. Fair play, I'll take that rather happily. You could just see Raikkonen was a bit unsettled through the corners there. We were able to just get the car where we wanted it. And we've got past the Alfa Romeo. It just took one little bit of wheel spin for Raikkonen, and he's been relegated to 17th. Next up, Giovinazzi and Verstappen. Not a likely battle pack duo, but the battle pack duo that we're going to have to deal with. Over the back then of Giovinazzi, can we potentially get a bit of a run on the Alfa Romeo this time around? It seems like they've just got incredibly slippery cars around this circuit, as Giovinazzi brakes a little bit earlier than I was expecting. We accidentally go for the move, and Raikkonen's able to slip past him as well. My apologies, mate. That wasn't quite what I had in mind, but I guess we pulled it off and there was no contact. Or at least if there was, it was very, very minor. I'm in a P15. Slow but steady progress. To lap 8 then, you can see Stroll and Perez are actually both on the medium compounded tyres, just in front of Max Verstappen here. I've really got no idea why he's struggling so much to get past these guys, but he's completely destroying his race at the moment, and now it's starting to destroy mine as well. We need to try and get past the Red Bull if we want to try and get past the racing points, of course, because they're all just holding this up at the moment. And I'm not too worried if Verstappen can't get through. If I can, I'm always going to go for it. Accidentally having a bit of a sneak up the inside of Verstappen. He tries to turn in on this, but we're going to be able to get the switch back off the exit. I was trying not to run into the back of him originally, but we might have been able to open ourselves up something around the outside through the final few corners. Thank you very much. I'm sure the real life Verstappen would have probably slammed that door right in our face. But remember to P14 then, and now we've got racing points on harder tyres just in front of us. Now at 1/3 race distance, we're all over the back of Lance Stroll. Definitely Verstappen's got issues at this stage. He's been jumped now by Raikkonen. Can we slip up the inside of the racing point? A bit of a half-hearted move, but he does spot us. He does give us the room. And we're now in a racing point sandwich here. But yeah, Verstappen going backwards. Really not too sure what's happened to him, considering he had penalties before the race. I'm guessing he's had even more issues. Anyway, next up, Perez. Can we get past him before the pit window? That would be ideal. Ooh. First few of the AI started to pit in one lap earlier than we have originally planned for, so we will be up into the top 10, albeit probably just for the one lap. But Hamilton and Vettel both just re-emerging from the pit lane. They are going to be behind us in a little bit of traffic, so that might work out well for Leclerc and championship leader Bottas, but still a long way to go here. We're only on lap 11. It hasn't been the most action-packed race in the world, but then again, Russia rarely is. We're just trying to see if we can slowly eke ourselves towards the points. Maybe a safety car can save us. Again, we've had a safety car in every Grand Prix but Zandvoort, so there's a fair chance we'll get one today. Closing in on Perez rather rapidly. Are we going to be able to slip past him before we dive into the pits? We got to take every opportunity we can, and it's a very, very aggressive move. But we get past the racing point with no contact, so we are past him before our pit window here. Like I said, we are going to dive it in at the end of this lap, so we need to make sure we keep it nice and tidy, joining basically everyone in front of us. So we might have had an opportunity to lead a lap in this Grand Prix, but we need to focus on strategy. Into the pits we go. You can see Raikkonen, Raikkonen, is it Raikkonen or is it Giovinazzi that's coming just behind us? It is Raikkonen. decided to swap around a lot there. As you can see, I think every team, pretty much, has got at least one car coming in. That's a bit of a dangerous rejoin, if you ask me, from the Renault team there. We had to slow down in the pits, but hopefully we can just keep it nice and tidy. Come on, there we go. So actually a pretty clean pit stop. We've gained a bit of time on the AlphaTauri. We're going to be back down in P17 though. Let's just get our head down and try and get some good laps in so we don't get overcut by the Racing Point. Who's that? That's Verstappen. So he's been able to get the undercut on us. That's not so ideal. So Jordan into the pits as well as a spattering of other cars. We're just really just pushing the limits at the moment. You can see Latifi's in, Gasly's in, my teammate Jordan King's in by the looks of it. No, sorry, Gasly's still out on the road. So we're back up into P15 then of the Grand Prix. We are going to see where the Racing Points come out, but Verstappen now back ahead of us means that points, unless we get a safety car, we're certainly going to have to work for them. Let's keep our head down and focus. However, Verstappen, yeah, now he's not stuck behind the Racing Points. Seems to have been able to find a whole lot more in this Grand Prix. Going towards the end then of lap 15, I've just spotted on the mini-map one of the Racing Points has dived it in to the pits. Verstappen seems to be very much now stuck behind the AlphaTauri of Gasly. I'm sure real life Helmut Marko would be on the phone, not making this an issue for much longer here. But out of the final corner, are we going to be able to get past? I don't know which one it is. It's Perez. And yes, we are. We're past Perez, so we are now up to P14 of the Grand Prix, actually, by a good few seconds there. Raikkonen might be able to get round him as well as we head down in towards turn 1. No, Raikkonen not quite able to get past the Racing Point. But yeah, Verstappen, though, really struggling again. Just can't seem to be able to make moves around here. Oh, Verstappen now finally going for a move up the inside of Pierre Gasly. He's pulled it off. Verstappen now up to 12th place. It might be 11th, as I'm guessing. Yeah, there we go. Stroll into the pits at the end of the lap. So, yeah, Verstappen now, he's not actually that far away behind the next gaggle of cars. Actually, we've got a Renault, and I think it's, well, it must be one of the McLarens. Our teammate Jordan King's behind us. So, Verstappen now going to try and bolt it. He might still be able to get a few points out of this. I think once again for Red Bull, it's just damage limitation at the moment. They've basically solidified P3 in the Constructors already, but they probably should be getting 5th and 6th in the Drivers' World Championship as well, as we have got past Stroll. Raikkonen has got past Stroll, as well as obviously Perez, his teammate. And yeah, Verstappen out up to 11th. The points are not far up the road here, but first of all, we need to try and get around Gasly. Now on Pierre, what we need is him not to be in Verstappen's DRS anymore in this Grand Prix. You can see we can make big gains as actually Pierre, we fill up his mirrors. He has a bit of a lock-up. Maybe this move isn't done just yet. Yes, it definitely is. That's way too much of oversteer. As now Perez is all over the back of the pair of us, and I'm sure ready to pounce in what is a very fast car in a straight line. In towards the final couple of corners. We've only got 10 laps to go of this Grand Prix now. Can we try and get past the AlphaTauri here? He won't have any DRS on Max Verstappen. He's not very quick out of the final corner either. So this should be a fairly textbook move to the outside of Pierre Gasly on the run down towards turn 1. And yeah, we're basically all the way past him by the time we even think about hitting the brakes. I'm into P12 with a safety car. Points might be possible here, but it will just be a case of if and when. Next up, Verstappen still. I feel like I've said that way too many times this Grand Prix. Perez now all over the back of us as we head on to lap 19. Obviously, we are locked in a Constructors' Championship battle with Racing Point, but there's nothing we're going to be able to do to try and defend from that. Perez whizzes straight past us down in towards the final couple of corners. But yeah, Jeff is right. We need to try and stick with him. See if he can help us close up to Verstappen, Lando, and I think it's Esteban Ocon. But already, the gap to Perez up to about 7/10. That Racing Point is looking feisty for a bit of a recovery. Lap 21 then, it all appears to be getting a little bit feisty. Just in front of us, we got 5 drivers from 5 teams with 3 different power units strapped to the back of these cars, all battling over the final 3 points in this Grand Prix. I think we're in a bit of an outside chance at the moment to be able to get anything. To be honest, My money's on Perez and Verstappen, 3rd and 4th in this train at the moment. But we're trying to hang on, because if these guys start making mistakes, they go side by side, we might be able to capitalise. It's just a patience game.
Fuel remaining.
Lap 22, I'm trying to hang on to the back of this train at the moment, but I'm very, very worried about the Canadians sat just behind us. We've got yellow flags out. That appears to be the Haas car. Going slowly. Is that going to neutralise the field? With just 5 and a bit laps to go with this Grand Prix. I don't even know which Haas it is, in all honesty. I think it's Magnussen pulling to the wayside. No, it's Grosjean. And it is a safety car. We're going to take the gamble. We're not in the points. We're going on softs to the end. I don't care if we lose places, because like I said, we're not scoring anything at the moment, so we're going for full risk. Into the pits we go. Let's see if a bit of a miracle towards the end. We might not have very long to go for moves, but we're going to try and go for absolutely everything. Overtaking has been our strong point so far today, so hopefully that can continue on. Make sure we got... Hopefully they're not chained to the front wing. Yes, they are. Despite a tiny bit of damage, we didn't really need that. I don't think it's going to affect our position, though, so that's all right. We're going to be back out in P18 of the Grand Prix. A bit of a botched pit stop there, but yeah. 4 or 5 laps to go then. I'm not too sure when the safety car is going to come back in. Let's see if we can try and get anything more out of this strap. We're not going to score if we don't, so might as well go for it. So, safety car is going to be coming in then, so we're going to have a 2-lap sprint to the end of this Grand Prix. I'll be honest, I think we're a bit optimistic in thinking we can try and get points out of this, sat in P18, but we're going to give it our best shot. I think if we can get past Gasly, then we'll probably treat it as nothing lost, because I think Stroll was going to fly past us anyway very, very quickly, but hopefully the tyres are still at a fairly respectable working temperature. First up will be our teammate Jordan King, as everyone just sort of gets ready to go and then stops again. Through the final couple of corners, it is going to be green flag racing here from Russia. That's a lot of curb. Through the final corner, try and get the power down as best as possible. We're going to have no DRS between now and the end of the Grand Prix as well, which is going to make things even more difficult, but we're going to try and give it our best shot. See sparks already flying from the back of the Alfa Romeos, just gently in towards turn 1. The one person I do not want to get involved in an instant with is, of course, my teammate Jordan King, but we'll see if we can try and get anything more out of this. Like I said, P14, I won't feel like we've made a stupid mistake by going for this strategy, but at the moment, we haven't really got much. Just trying to get these tyres up to temperature. There we go, that's where the grip comes in. Jordan, way too slow off the exit of that corner there. He's going to completely ruin his run down in towards the next corner. And why is he going so defensive on us? Mate, just get on with it. We don't want to be battling you. Let's see if we can try and get around the outside. A bit of wheel-to-wheel contact between myself and my teammate. Around the outside we go. And we're up 1 spot then after Jordan King probably made that a lot more difficult for the pair of us than either of us really needed it to be. Next up then is Antonio Giovinazzi down in towards the final couple of corners. This should be where we see just how much extra grip and pace we've got over all these guys. You know, we've got a car that's at least on par with these boys anyway, as we take way too much curb. But yeah, anyway, final couple of corners though, we hold on to it. We've got plenty of ERS to use, plenty of fuel, so we may as well just leave it sat in rich revs. Fastest laps coming out by guys up the road. Can we try and get on the power nicely? There we go, look at that run. Able to get on Giovinazzi, but the Alfa very, very quick in a straight line. We're going to try and dart back into the slipstream of the Italian on the run down towards turn 1. He's going to go defensive on us. Try and go slow in, fast out. No. Giovinazzi just sits on the apex there. So the AI defending absolutely as you'd expect them to at the moment. Just not allowing us any sort of opportunities at this stage of the day. But just look at the extra speed and momentum we're able to carry through the corners here. Giovinazzi slow into here. Can we try and get the cut back on him? Yes, we can. This time round, up and under the Alfa Romeo. We're going to give him a bit of a squeeze, some wheel-to-wheel contact, but we make the move work in the end. Exploring track limits on the exit. Probably a little bit more than we should be, but can we try and get past Raikkonen before the end of this Grand Prix? There wasn't much action throughout most of this, but we're certainly spicing it up on the final lap here. We've got very, very little in the way of ERS able still to use, but we're closing in on the Alfa Romeo man. Think about having a look at it, but can't quite make anything work there. Try and go for a bit of a switcheroo through the final few corners, though. It looks like, I think, Hamilton is going to make it a race victory here today. Can't remember the last time he won in this series, but we're not too worried about that. We're worried about getting the power down on the Alfa Romeo there. Up the inside, in towards the final couple of corners. Hamilton wins. A Ferrari second, Bottas third, but through the final corner, it's 15th for ourselves, and a bit of a butchered strategy, if I'm honest.
And Mercedes have pulled off a great victory here today. Anthony Davidson, a resounding victory today. What set them apart from the rest?
Without a doubt, the safety car changed everything today. The key to their success was keeping calm and reacting to the situation quickly. We've seen teams in the past throw away wins because they were too hesitant, but here they were decisive, and that's allowed them to take the advantage.
So after a magnificent race, we can now see the drivers making their way to the podium. Once again, it's the Silver Arrows who take top spot. A well-earned victory for Mercedes. And after this round of the World Championship, here's how things look in the drivers' table. Our championship leader is still sat at the top of the standings, but their rivals have made up some solid ground today. Let's focus on the driver of the day, Anthony Davidson. Who do you pick?
I have to give it to Mr. Monaco. They demonstrated a very delicate touch in close proximity to other cars, as well as showing a lot of maturity and patience in difficult situations.
Mercedes continue to extend their lead. There was also a strong showing from the Mclaren team today, as they make their way up the standings. It's time to see how things are shaping up in the Constructors' Championship. Well, that was certainly an incredible weekend of racing. Be sure to join myself and Ant for more exciting Formula One action soon.
Not sure what Croft is on about there, I'll be honest. He seems to be asking himself questions he's already answered, but we won't worry about that too much. Lewis Hamilton finally gets another race victory on the board. I'm genuinely looking back and can't remember the last time he won a race in this series. I think it was around France, maybe? It might have been even before that. I know we won a couple in a row early on in the season, but yeah, it has been a very, very tough old championship for Lewis Hamilton so far. But the full 26 points here in Russia, are we going to see a bit of a resurgence from the Mercedes man at the end of the year there? Charles Leclerc in P2, another solid race for Ferrari after a couple of very, very rough rounds for the Monegasque driver there, with Bottas in third and Sebastian Vettel in P4 there. Sainz having a fantastic day out in P5. They're able to beat Alex Albon to 6th place there. Riccardo Kvyat, a fantastic job in his home race there, up in P8. A very, very quiet race for Danny Kvyat on the most part, but he got the job done, and that is exactly what I'm sure he wanted in his home Grand Prix. They're ahead of Ocon and Lando Norris rounding out the top 10 there. Verstappen, a fairly respectable recovery, but he really should have had more from that Grand Prix. He got stuck behind the racing points for far too long, and then even at the end of the Grand Prix, they couldn't even get back past him there. Gasly in 14th, myself 15th. A bit of a resurgence at the end there, but yeah, hindsight is a beautiful thing, and we probably shouldn't have dived it in, but, you know, we thought, we're not going to lose anything, we're not going to lose any points by pitting, so we may as well go for it at that stage of the day there. We beat the Alphas, my teammates Russell, Magnussen, and Nicholas Latifi there, with Grosjean, the one man not to make it to the end of the race there. But title-wise, Hamilton up into P2. He's now 21 points back from his teammate Valtteri Bottas there, so he's now the only man within a race wins distance behind his teammate here. And I genuinely believe at the moment we could quite easily see a four-way title fight heading into Abu Dhabi between both Mercedes and both Ferraris there. Max Verstappen still in 5th ahead of myself, still 16 points clear of Albon in 6th there. So very, very happy with that, especially if by some miracle we can hold on to that between now and the end of the season there. The only swap as those Sainz moved back past Perez after that Grand Prix, and I think that was it in terms of movement there. Constructors-wise, though, McLaren move back past Renault. I'll be honest, I think we're going to struggle to catch back up to both of those teams. They're just looking very, very strong in the latter stages of this World Championship there. But Ferrari now 34 behind Mercedes as well. 5 races to go in Season 1 of the F1 2020 My Team Career Mode. Next time out, if I'm not mistaken, we head to the legendary remodelled Suzuka circuit on F1 2020. Thank you all so much for watching. Make sure you get yourselves subscribed. And yeah, we will be back tomorrow where we head to Suzuka. You guys do not want to miss it. A big thank you to our channel members for making these videos possible. You can be featured in these end clips as well as granted access to some other exclusive perks for just £1 a month by clicking the join button below.